evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. And smash that like button right meow. You know you're gonna like the show. We always have a good time. Just, pardon if it does lag a bit. Just getting my screens opened up so I can see you guys. Of course, I've got YouTube opened up here, but I also have my Twitch chat room opened up. If you have a Twitch handle, you have a chat room that never closes, even though I'm not live on Twitch. I really think it will. I think it would just give me a hard time if I was multicasting. Multicasting sounds like you're casting two spells at one time. I mean, kind of. It is sort of magical being in front of a camera. Or if it's not, you make it seem that way. That's part of the fun. Can I see everything? Almost. Make myself small as I can. Make the chat room as big as I can. Great. What's up to Modus and Patrick and Thomas Collins? What is going on? Modus says, just messing with a doll. Like you lazy fuckers. And Patrick says hey to me, hope you're well. Hi Modus. Yeah, doing alright, getting through. Better than last week, I guess. I feel like I can see better tonight. Maybe I'm used to stuff being on this side of the room now, but it's a weird, it might be not as awkward to see myself on the other side of the room because it's been a few shows, but I just have to get used to the lighting being different. That will throw me off more than anything else. But I do have to say this, since this happened in between episodes. I do have a link for Super Chats in the description. It's Venmo and Buy Me a Coffee. All of that goes to myself. Venmo, I get 100%. Buy Me a Coffee gives me... it's a bit of a sliding scale, pardon I'm messing with the camera, as to how much Buy Me a Coffee gives you, but there's a fee to donate, i.e. that cost, but the point is all of that goes to myself. Your money stays in the United States. I'm not buying hookers and blow. I'm not using it to support AI. And if you do send me a super chat, I read your comment at my next show. And so I have to read this. I got one from Leanne in between the last two shows. She says, sending happy thoughts and blessings to you. So thank you very much, Leanne. She's not in here right this second, but I know she watches the show. So thank you so much. All of that helps me to keep my weight above 90 pounds. 92 pounds, I think, is as small as I got, which is, looks great, but it's kind of scary when you, have plans for the day and you have to priority shift and eat first thing because you're gonna fall out. What's up, One to Go To? Glad you made it. Everybody get comfy. Oh, yeah, the audio was a tad bit crunchy when I tested it. As long as it's not doing, pops and things like that, then it's good. And then I was in the chat room for the other show, and we got into talking about microphones, and I got some really good advice for a microphone and also a stand. So I looked those up on Amazon. It's north of 100, but not too far north of 100. It's nothing I'm gonna buy right now. I kind of have to worry more about getting moved before I get a new setup. I just don't have enough money to buy a microphone right now. That would just completely tap me out. Even though I need it sooner than that, it's something I have to sort of wait and get later. I'm just opening up my own show so I can check the audio. But they've given me a good place to start. I thought a microphone would be, say, $250, something like that. But this sounds like it's going to be, I don't know, like $150 or something. So that's better. Yeah, hang up for a second. Let me. Oh, did I hit anything? Sorry. Let me see how this sounds. So I still haven't enough to buy a microphone right now. That would just really get me out of here. Okay. Okay. That's how it sounds right now. That's all right. I don't know. I'm sorry if it is a little bit low. I don't know why I decided to start doing that the last few couple of shows, but that's just what it's doing. It doesn't, as long as it doesn't sound too much like frying bacon during a tornado, then it's gonna be fine. And I am gonna be doing a show on Friday, Friday the 13th, so 6 days from today. So plan on that. I don't know what else you have going on a Friday at 7 p.m., but I'm going to be here that day and also the following day, February 14th, for my usual show. The 13th, though, I just want to do a balcony chat just to talk about random stuff, just things I've got had kicking around in my head since I did my birthday stream roughly about a month before that. Just so it's loose, I'm not doing a review and we can just bring up whatever, talk about anything. Speaking about talking about anything, also on the description, I've got the link for my Discord in there. Have had a Discord for a while, but it hasn't been active for 2, 3, 4 years. Just to see if that can get going. A best case scenario, what if I'm able to, say, stream Dark Shadows or movies through my laptop into Discord? I know you can do it with a computer. I don't know if you can do it with a laptop, but like that way we could all watch something together, theoretically. Yeah, who knows? Maybe. Oh, Dandy, what's up? Glad you made it. It says, I finally made it live. And he says, hi to everybody. Yeah, what's up? Glad you made it. Patrick, has anyone seen the Amelia cartoon, Amelia with an A, the British government put on? It's really backfiring. Love it. I think I may have heard about that through Tumblr. That's the best way to get any information, through memes. Just that there's some kind of I don't know if it was AI, so I didn't want to click on it too much. But it's sort of like they tried to make a cartoon that was um, anti Britain, and it's backfiring on them. And maybe folks are just memeing it and making fun of it. So, yeah, that's good. It's backfiring. I hope they realize they spent all that money for nothing and feel very embarrassed. And whoever thought of the concept is just getting nothing but dirty looks from people. That's what you get for being a traitor or a Tory over there. I want to go to says, I'm thinking that a better mic will help overall, but maybe not so much remedying the crunchy grinding noise issue. Yeah, if that's something that can be fixed through Streamlabs, let me know. That's what I use. It's just nothing in this thing is intuitive. And then if you go to look up an article about how to fix it, they're just gaslighting you. Well, maybe your audience doesn't hear it. Maybe fuck you. I am my audience. I hear it. So it's just not okay for this day and age. It's not good for like that's what would hold me back from milestones. Once I get to 500 subscribers, my watch time is like it stays around under 2,000 hours in a year, when it needs to be 3,000 plus 500 subscribers to hit the next milestone. um But yeah, Went to Go To is helping me out with that, so thank you. A few folks were in the Twitch chat room the Thursday or Wednesday, whenever that was. What to Go To says, yes, the reimagined Amelia fan series is terrific. At first, I thought when I glanced, I first read Amelie. I'm thinking, I watched that movie. That was forever ago. And nobody's talking about that anymore. Oops. I think I saw that at the Cedar Lee. We just don't get movies like that around my town, so you have to go all the way into Cleveland, which is dangerous. This was about 2000, so it wasn't as bad. But yeah, that's where I saw like Quills and what was the film about Nosferatu and Willem Dafoe played him? Shadow of the Vampire. That I saw that, even though I haven't seen Nosferatu from 1922, whenever that came out, and The Dangerous Lives of Altar Boys. That had Vincent D'Onofrio in it. That's what I remember seeing there anyway. Thomas Collins, we're going to have a good time. Modus, yeah, no such thing as AI. Yeah, I don't consume Satan content. In fact, I just saw somebody I had a lot of respect for. They sort of mentioned this another time, but then I go on to Instagram and I see that they've shared AI pictures and AI is Satan, so unfollow. I just unfollowed them on all the social media platforms that I follow them on. I don't need that in my feed. I don't need to look like I support that kind of thing because I don't. I think if you share AI content, if you have it on your channel, you should have a couple weeks to delete it, and if you don't, you should lose your channel. Humans don't make that. If you want to worship the devil, go to your satanic church. Don't throw it in everybody's faces. There's enough evil in the world. And it's from people who consider themselves like Christians and Catholics. Well, you're not if you're a devil worshiper, but you can't listen to what people say. You have to watch what they do to understand where they sit. But yeah, I've got Instagram. I'm not active on it. It's mostly just for following Madonna because she's supposed to have a new album coming out. It's got to come out this year. It's got to come out before Grand Theft Auto 6. That doesn't seem like that won't be out until next year for me. I don't play, but I don't know if Gray Still Plays would move on to that content. This is a Gray Still Plays Not Today's Satan shirt. He doesn't sell it anymore. I might have to make my own shirt. I was thinking of this. Would people buy a shirt that says, because I'm always on about, AI being Satan. So, like, it would be a shirt that's something like, I'm going to type it in the chat room, S-A-I-T, or with hyphens, T, I said T, damn it, A, something like this, S-AI-T-A-N, or just make the AI big. I don't know if people would like merch like that. I was just thinking about like just stuff to sell. It's not quite political, but it's very on topic. Lotus says liberals programming a fake thing. Ooh, I'm scared. Yeah, ooh, liberals are literally cowards. Cowards do like to group up on brave people. Thomas Collins, who is Joyce Myers? Isn't she one of those like evangelical types? Which Modus, yeah, that is quite a stretch, yeah. Or it might have to be maybe S-A-I. No, see, that doesn't look right. If you just make the AI big and the rest small, that wouldn't look right. You'd have to play with the font too much. It's not set in stone. It's just an idea. I was just kicking that around. I forgot to ask earlier when I thought of it. That's okay. It's not a real thing. Yeah, it's just Satan with an I added in there. What do you know? Pardon me, but we're here for some Dark Shadows, so I'm going to my own channel to read the recap I wrote this morning. So I can't remember back that far. So just to recap the last episode. So Carolyn agreed to let Liz be moved to a hospital in Boston. Liz does not want to leave Collinwood, but she's not in Collinwood now. So she's going to be pissed when she wakes up. Damn, I didn't think of that. And then Dr. Guthrie arrived. We heard about him before. He's the spookologist that Frank Gardner is friends with. He showed up and he just starts asking everyone about Laura Collins. He's there for Liz. All of his questions are about Laura. He's all over town asking. And then Burke told Victoria that he saw Liz at Laura's cottage before she fell out, and that's the first time Victoria or anybody else heard about it, because Laura said that she had not seen Liz that day, so we found out that she lied. And we have 1,080 episodes to go. We are flying through these. Too far away. Too far away. Oh, Motors, you have to take off. Take it easy. Smash that like button before you go. It helps out the channel. Daddy said that I missed the March 4th, 1969 episode. No, we're only in September. Goodness. February of 1967. So we'll get all through the 1969 stuff. I did end up taking notes up to about, I forget how far I got. I took notes on about 80% of the show, and then I realized they were too sparse and written on white paper, so I can't see to read them back when I'm live. And then I've got a notebook over there. I forget which notebook it's in. I am doing these in order as well, because I knew if I started with episode 210, it'd have to be like, well, if you saw this episode, you'd know that I didn't want to have to do all that jumping back and forth. So let's just go all the way through every single episode, including the episodes they didn't make. Well, which does happen every so often. We just come up to a number and there's just no episode. Don't know why that happened. It seems to have happened around the holidays. It's like they get a week off and they come back and they're like, we're on episode this. And nobody cared about the episode count. I guess they figured the show wasn't going to be that popular. I don't know. Everybody was too buzzing off of caffeine and cigarettes. Dandy says, my brother was born that day. And I remember watching it at my parents' friend's house. I was 5. Oh, let me write that down. March 4th, 1969. March 4th is the day Jean-Francois Champollion died, a different year. I think I just remember that because I met a kid and his birthday was that day, different year. That's the fella who deciphered hieroglyphs from the Rosetta Stone. Because I remember you saying that you had to watch it on, your brother was born, so we were stuck watching that in the afternoon. Yeah, I'm going to have to go through and look through all my notes to see how far I got. I don't know if I wrote down. How can I find that quickly? Can I find that quickly? Dark Shadows is on Tubi. Link in the description for the channel and for the show. It's on Internet Archive as well, but it's not going to tell you the episodes that they didn't make. I wonder if I can find that. Dark Shadows. Let's see. Might be able to. 1969. I'm just gonna go to season 20. I don't know. Will this give the dates? I don't know if it's gonna give the dates. How am I gonna get the dates? I don't know. I don't know if it gives the dates later on. When was episode 1000? Is it gonna say? Just as episode 1000, I would have to maybe IMDb. We'll get around to it. We'll get around to it. That is so cool though. So yeah, I hope it was a good one. Oh, is this pen finally running out? Let me grab my other pen. Oh, just got some Crystal Bic pens that skip too much for story writing, so now they're just here to scratch out mistakes. Yeah. Okay. Dandy says all good. I can wait. LOL. Yeah, well, we'll get around to it in 2 years. 2 years back then, since we're close to March in 1967 in these, but we are actually on episode 166 that aired on February 13, 1967. And it is day 36. We see the clock in the foyer. It's 10:20 a.m. and there's this really loud ticking, and it's not necessarily just they forgot to turn the ticking sound down. It's because the characters in the scene, we're gonna soon find out, are very anxious about what time it is. So when you feel every second ticking by, it's like you can hear every tick on the clock going past. So that's why that ticking sound is so loud. But it's daytime. We're in the living room. And Carolyn's wearing it's a skirt suit with a matching jacket. It's got this with these vertical light two-tone rectangle designs. It reminds me of that Liz's suit that makes me think of Chanel. It's at first I thought it was that at first, but it's just her version of that. It's these like square rectangles, like you got the square white, then a square light gray, a square, like that. So it's very Liz-esque. Since Carolyn's been in charge, she's dressing more like her mother. But she's pacing back and forth. She's nervous about something because David just spent the night at his mother's house. That's why every second is just inching by. She's waiting for him to come home. And here it is, almost 10:30. He's still not back, so she's anxious. So she's pacing, and Victoria's there too, and she's just playing solitaire. She's playing it like it's PvP. Like you've never seen somebody so focused, head down, playing solitaire before. Like she's beating the clock like it's a speed run. Like she's got an opponent, like it's chess, but she's focused on that. So Carolyn says, why isn't David back yet? How can you just sit there and play solitaire? Victoria says, it calms me down. You must have paced 10 miles in this room by now. David is only down at the cottage. Victoria's upset that Roger made her break her word to Liz. She said she would keep David away from his mother, and then he just ended up spending the night because Roger said he could. So Carolyn says it feels like David is in danger every minute that he's out of Collinwood. She really wants to tell Laura to just get the fuck out. Like, out of the cottage, off of the property. She just wants to go down there and tell her right now. Victoria's like, no. Roger might let her just take David if you tell her to go now. What if Liz returned and David's gone? There's a tray off to the side that they've got like the tea service. Well, it's coffee service, I guess. But there's a little tray of cookies there, and I sort of wondered why. Like, did you guys just eat breakfast? Now you want cookies too? But they're just sitting there. I just happened to notice. But Victoria's saying that, remember, Dr. Guthrie suggested a seance. Carolyn says, it's worth a shot. It might be a gas. But just then the front door opens, the girls run into the foyer, David's back. Carolyn gives him a big old hug. She's so happy to see him. We've never seen her this happy to see David. You know, they don't want him to worry about his mother or anything like that. And you know, David said he had a good time and he's going to go spend the night with her again. You know, nothing weird happened as far as he was concerned. So they head into the living room. I guess that's why cookies are there, probably for David. But David's going on to say that his mom said that he could spend the night again anytime, and Carolyn can't stop him. And it was nice. He had a good time. He knew that Josette was there because he smelled the perfume. And then he just heads over to the fireplace and just sits down staring at it. Like, that's not creepy. But there is a knock at the door. Carolyn answers, and Joe is there. He's kind of an errand boy. He was sent to pick up some ledger, so that's why he's there. And he's sorry to hear about what happened with Liz. And, you know, Carolyn, thank you. But is anyone saying anything unusual about Liz's illness? And Joe's like, well, a few people have. He's like, look, people in Collinsport have 3 ways of getting any glamour or mystery into their lives. They've got TV, movies, and Collinwood. Carolyn asks, do you ever wish you could go back and change things? Joe says, nope. Once it's done, it's done. Why give someone a second chance to hurt you again? Like, he says, I move on. I know that's right, dude. So Carolyn's done beating around the bush. She just blurts it out. She's like, well, I'm free again. Joe says, I'm not. But he's cool if if she still wants to be friends. And Carolyn agrees. She's not happy that he's taken, but she's got bigger problems right now than her dating life. Now, over in the living room, we get a shot like this. I don't think we've had too many like this, but it's like the camera and then the fireplace, and then we can see the rest of the room. So we've got like these flames in between the camera and the characters for a little bit. Oh, lost my spot. But David is saying to Victoria that he had a wonderful dream, and Laura held him all night long. So he just had a wonderful time with his mother. That's nice. He doesn't know about the danger. I'm glad he had a nice time with his mom. So now we are at the Blue Whale. It's nighttime. And Sam is up at the bar, and there's a few other guys around. Bartender, he's laughing it up. Sam's just friendly with everybody. So if he's having a good time, everybody's having a good time. But the better time he has, the more he drinks. And the camera pans over. we see Maggie is sitting there with Joe. They're on a date, but she can't help but, notice her pop over there, laughing it up, drinking it up. So she's distracted. So Joe says, yeah, well, I was up at Collinwood today, and Carolyn wanted to make another go of it. I told her I wasn't free anymore. And, Maggie's paying attention to him, but she's looking at her dad. There's no such thing as a few drinks with her pop. The more he gets upset, the more he drinks, and the more he talks. And she just doesn't want him talking about, seeing a lady in flames and thinking Laura Collins burnt his hands. She just wants all that shushed up. So she keeps staring at her dad. Joe understands. So Maggie goes up to see her pop, and she's just kind of quietly trying to tell him, like, can you just please stop talking about that painting? Sam says, too late. Dr. Guthrie asked about it, and he seemed to already know about it. So Maggie says there's something going on up at Collinwood, and that scares her. She says, let's just stay out of it, Pop. Let's not get involved. Sam says, we are involved. What's that picture got to do with Liz being sick? And he strikes a match, and then he's doing it again. He's just staring at the flame of that match. Doesn't even light a cigarette. But Maggie sees that he's staring at the match, so she blows it out. And then Sam decides he wants another drink. And Maggie says, haven't you had enough? Sam says, they don't make enough. Bruh. So just then Burke walks in. And he decides to go sit with Joe. I don't think he ever asks to be invited to sit anywhere. He just joins whoever he wants to. But he's like, well, let's just call a truce between you and me. Joe's like, hey, I'm not interested in Carolyn anymore. She's all yours. Damn, Burke says, I was just going to say the same thing. Oh, shit. That is so bad. It would only be worse if she was right there in front of him. Hey, I don't want her. Me either. Cool. I guess we're friends now. That's harsh. But Joe says that Carolyn always wanted what she couldn't get. She's just spoiled. And that's a shame because she really could be a nice girl. But Joe has someone he can depend on now, and he looks over at Maggie. And that's right when Maggie comes up and joins him. And she's letting them know that Dr. Guthrie was asking questions about things that were none of his business. And he's supposed to be here for Liz. So, and then he asked about the painting that Sam did. And he's interested in Laura Collins. That doesn't make sense to anybody, including her. So Joe says, oh, well, if he had questions about Laura, he should have asked Burke. So Burke buys Sam a drink, and then he says, I heard you had a visitor. Sam's like, yeah, he was interested in that picture of Laura that was consumed by fire. And then we see the blue whale for the credits. Let me check on the audio just a second here. Oh, that's going to slide when I set it down. Okay, be right back over. cares? You always want to update when I'm live. Like they know I work here. Oh, she's gone. Oh, and then he asked about the painting the sandbag. And he's interested in Laura Collins. That doesn't make sense to anybody. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. Okay. That's doable. Alright. What, they got the Winter Olympics going on right now? Yeah, don't care. They're all on drugs now. They should give all those medals back to Russia. But now we're on episode 167. This aired on February 14, 1967. This one is cute. Again, you don't see this unless you have the DVDs, but they show the chalkboard with the air date and the recording date. But usually it's just somebody holding it, but this time it's Victoria. She's sitting on the floor with the chalkboard and waving at the camera. I guess because it's Valentine's Day, just doing something different. It's cute. I've seen stills of it before, and I'm like, wait, why is she sitting on the floor? And then I read the date, like, oh, is that why? Oh, okay, just something extra that they did. And we don't see those chalkboard shots. Once we get to episode 210, that completely stops. And it's not on Tubi, so you'd only see it on the DVDs. That's a bit of an investment, but it's worth it if you are that obsessed with Dark Shadows and potentially the Wi-Fi's off, but the electric's still on and you need your fix. That's when you would want the box set. I got mine on Amazon about a year and a half ago, and it was just north of $400. And then someone in the comment section said they picked up theirs for $160. It's like, dude, you could have shot me with an arrow. Oh my god, that's so cheap. It's worth it though. It's worth it though. There's an entire disc of bonus stuff. It's a big, heavy coffin. I want to use that for the thumbnails. I'll work something out. So now we are into day 37. It is daytime. We're in the living room. And Victoria is speaking with Dr. Guthrie. She said, because David had said that he had a dream when he was over at his mother's house, and that's all he said. Well, I guess he told Victoria about it, and that's what she's telling us now. That David said there was no light, but he could hear the ocean roaring. So he thought he was on the beach. And he was holding his mother's hand, and it felt like they were the only two people in an infinite world. So he wasn't scared. And it was silent, but he could see his mother's eyes. And then they were like heading towards a light, and the roaring grew louder and louder, and they ran. And right before they jumped in, he woke up. So Dr. Guthrie says, I wonder if it was a dream. It's like when you're asleep, a force strong enough can intrude. So even if David wants to leave, he must have some fears about it. And because of David's sense of inferiority, he wouldn't trust anyone as much as he trusted Laura in that dream. Like he's just that desperate to hook onto one person. So now we're over in the cottage. It's Laura and Roger, and Laura is saying that she wants David now. So you know Liz will make me leave without him. And Roger kind of doesn't understand why she's so anxious. He's like, well, your self-control was always one of your more admirable and unsettling qualities. But why the impatience? Laura says, I've been patient long enough. How's this? Let me have David now, and I'll bring him back if I have to. It's like, I've never begged you for anything before. I'm begging you now. What if I mention manslaughter to Burke Devlin? Roger, and perjure yourself. Be patient. You don't have a choice, and neither do I. And we really have not seen Laura so anxious. She really has been very patient, very calm with people when you know she just wants to go off. And she hit her limit. She can't take it. I don't know what her time frame is, but it's running out. So over in the living room, Dr. Guthrie says that Josette's been giving hints because that's all she can do. So we'll give her the power to do more with the seance. And just then Carolyn walks in, and the idea of a seance just scares her. Dr. Guthrie says, well, everyone should be there. Victoria says, no, not David, it'll scare him. It's like, we'll tell Roger and Laura that they have to join in for Liz's sake. That way they can't refuse. And Carolyn, she's just creeped out by this whole thing. Like it's as if the seance has already begun. She's like, who's already in here with us? She's just creeping herself out more. You kind of feel like you're already being watched. That's where she's at. She's just so completely unnerved by it. This is when you have to watch the show for yourself, because when Roger is being sarcastic and sassy, like no one does it better than him. So, go to commercial, come back, and it's as if they've already presented the idea to Roger. Oh, well, what's up, John Rogers? Glad you made it. But here's Roger. He's like, I refuse. Seance indeed. He's like, why not do a voodoo dance around her hospital bed? So Dr. Guthrie says, well, if the seance is a failure, then I'll leave Collinwood. Roger, oh, well, that's different. Well, then we'll do it at once. Come on, girls, gather around. Oh, he's so great at his 180s. Oh, man, he's great. But they're not doing it now. Dr. Guthrie says, well, I'll let you know when the time is right. So he's out the door. He's got stuff to do. But Carolyn tells her uncle that, look, the doctor is just trying to help. Roger's just, yeah, well, if you need me, I'll be upstairs in my room. And as he's walking out of the room, he's muttering under his breath, just seance indeed. I never heard of anything so foolish in my life. He is not having it. It's one of my favorite scenes so far. Seance indeed. It is kind of spooky. Would you go to a seance, like, okay, like doing it just for fun is one thing, but if you thought you could save the life of someone that you love and really care about, would you push your fears aside and go through with it? Or is that too creepy for you? And again, they don't pull any sort of religious context into it. It's not like we're given the thought that they're overly Christian or Catholic or atheist, or that really hasn't come up so far. I would, just because I'm not afraid of spooky stuff. I've had spooky stuff happen anyway in my real life, and the thing is, dead people are already dead, so they can't become alive again. If you're alive and spooky stuff is messing with you, it's like, look, you can fuck with me now, but one day I'm gonna be dead too, and you can't run away from me. So if you want to fuck with me now, I'm not gonna forget about it, and then I'm gonna be dead too, and you're gonna have more problems than you had before. So you can't scare me, I can scare you worse. John Rogers says, I got caught up in Pinata's show, lost track of time. Oh, Dandy says, I love this show. Oh, thank you. Some folks hate this show. I did my test stream and I lost 2 subs. I wonder how that works. I don't think I'm gonna take it personally. I think it's just that YouTube can't count. It happens. It happens. It would suck if you're trying to get to, say, like 1 million subs and it's just like 1 or 2 away and it keeps fluctuating. That would be really frustrating. But it's just a number. Don't tie your self-esteem up in your sub count and you'll be fine. It's seance indeed. But Roger is out of the room, and Carolyn says to Victoria that she thinks her Uncle Roger is just scared of the whole thought of a seance like she is. And Laura was the last person who saw her mother before she fell out, so I'm gonna go tell her right now that she lied. And Victoria tries to stop her, but she can't. She's just out the door. I forget to say, yeah, John Rogers liked the show too. Danny, yeah, his show and this show, lol, yeah. Oh, Danny, 261 subs, yeah. Now it's going to go down by 2. Every time I mention it, it goes down. I wonder if that's a thing. I wonder if it's listening to me. Like, you start typing about certain things in a chat room, and then suddenly it comes up in your recommended when you get out of that chat room. I wonder why. Like, you start talking about buying a boat, and suddenly you're getting recommended boating videos, something odd like that. Or sea shanties. Oh, John Rogers says he didn't get his notification. Yeah, that figures. That's why I put out tweets and posts, because I don't think they're notifying people of my show. Maybe it's because I say things like sewer, suicide, and murder, and other censored words that they don't seem to like. That's okay. So over at the cottage, Carolyn's there, and she says that Burke told Victoria that he saw Liz here at the cottage. Why did you lie? Laura's like, oh yeah, I just remembered Liz was here, but that storm was coming up, and she was just here to ask if I would be more comfortable up at Collinwood during the storm. And I said no, so she left. And Carolyn just accepts that. She can't prove that didn't happen, so she can't stay there and argue, so she goes. And we see the cottage for the credits, some good shots of it too, in case you want to draw it or build it in Minecraft. Yeah, I'm always live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturdays here on YouTube. Next Friday, I'm going to be live at 7 p.m. for a balcony chat, but my usual day is Saturday. No matter what. Alright, episode 168 aired on February 15, 1967. We're still in day 37. It's nighttime still, and there's thunder. We are at the cottage. We can see through the window, and then the camera, moves over so we can see through the door with that glass that they just don't feel like cleaning off. Yeah, right of the cupboard is a wood panel wall and a picture with a chair underneath it. We usually don't see that far to the side, but we can right there. Oh, Moda says, when you watch, comment, and like, I always get the notifications. Okay, yeah, always smash the like button. That helps out the channel. Likes help, comments help. Make sure you are subscribed. It could be, too, that it's like with bigger channels. You will get unsubscribed randomly. Make sure you are still subscribed. Every once in a while, it likes to unsub folks from channels. It stopped doing that to me after a few years, but I'm always mindful of how many channels I'm watching or how many I'm subscribed to. I always notice that. As bad as my memory is, that's one thing I do always seem to notice. Yeah, Modus always good. And that screen by the door, it's like one of those tri-fold. It's like you can fold it all the way up, or you can unfold it. It's kind of like a zigzag, and that's placed in such a way that if you're looking through the door or the window, you can't see into that room. I say it's a bedroom. We don't ever go in there, but what else would it be? But you don't want people perving through your window and seeing into your bedroom, so that's why that screen is there. I'm glad they have that. Notice, yeah, people think they're self-important. Yeah, they have main character syndrome. You can't tell them nothing because they know everything, but, well, if you knew everything, you wouldn't be so confused. Nobody knows everything. That's the fun of being alive. You get to continue to learn. People who are always learning new things are more interesting than people who think they know everything because they don't. And no one likes to know it all. Really, dumbass? But Burke is there at the cottage, and he's asking Laura why Dr. Guthrie is asking questions about her. He asked about that portrait that Sam painted and not about Liz. He says, I think he's a detective here about that lady who died in Phoenix. And why all the mystery? Laura, I don't know. Like, this is your fault, Burke. You got people suspicious of me by telling Victoria that you saw Liz here. And then Burke doesn't want anything to happen to Laura because she's his future. And then he kisses her. And Laura says, I'm the future, not the present. And there's a storm coming. Hint, hint, get out of here. And Burke does, so he takes off. Oh, the weather's turning. There's the door. Do you want your coat? Modus zombies, babe. Yeah, just NPCs, yeah. It's okay to be confident and know your stuff, but nobody likes to be around. You don't want to see somebody who never takes anybody else's thoughts and feelings into consideration. It just makes it seem like you don't care about people, and that's... You have to care about people if you are a people. It's like, oh, you're better than everybody else. You know everything. You're a god. Doubt it. Doubt it. You'd be hotter if you were, but you're not. You're just a people like you and me. Just a fucked up human like everybody else. Isn't it great? So we're at the Blue Whale. Sam's hands are healing. They're just less bandaged up. If he's at the bar, he can probably grip a glass enough to, you probably can't unscrew the top at home, but he can, he can drink at the Blue Whale, so that's enough for him. I don't know how many days he went without a drink, but I know it's not fun to go off of the substances you like. But Dr. Guthrie comes in, and Sam invites him to join him. And Guthrie's just there because Burke wanted to meet him there. And he notices Sam's hands. Says, "How did you burn your hands?" Sam says, "I didn't. Laura did." He said, "Now booze, it's done a lot to me, but it's never made me sleepy. But I nodded out, and then I dreamt of Laura laughing at me, and I woke up to see a fire." He's like, "And I know better than to stick my hands into fire, but it's like he was just compelled to touch it." Guthrie says, "I believe you." And just then Burke walks in, and he and Guthrie go sit at a table. And right away, Guthrie's asking, he wants to know about what happened between Liz and Laura. So Burke says, "Your questions are suspicious for a doctor. I'm going to have you checked out." Guthrie says, "Do that." Like, is that all? Deuces. Burke's not answering any questions. All Guthrie has is questions. This isn't going anywhere. So he's out. Hey Kyle, what's up? It's not a book. It's a soap opera from 1966. You can watch it on Tubi right now for free. Link in the description for the channel and for the show. It's also on Internet Archive. It ran for a year. It was going to get the axe, so they made some casting changes, and then it ran for another 4 years. I was just reading online. It had something like 20 million viewers daily. Pretty significant. And that it's still so popular, they're going to have a convention for it in California at the end of July. So it's a pretty big deal. It still has its fans. People younger than me, even folks in there, they've got to be Zoomers who get into this show. It is so wild. And they're only half an hour episodes, so it's 21, 22 minutes. They fly by so fast. If you're not taking notes, it just goes so quickly. So Guthrie is out. They did write books. There are books that are considered canon. There's like a whole series about a character that's not on the show yet that I would like to read that are still in print if you buy them from the actual publishing house. So there are, books that are canon to the show, but it's the show came first. Then there were a couple of movies. There's all these books, remakes and whatnot. But yeah, Guthrie's gone, so Burke says to Sam, it's like, "I don't know what you told him, but that dude is not your friend." And I don't think Sam believes him because Guthrie believes Sam about not making that portrait of Laura, and he believes him about burning his hands, so he's gonna take what Burke thinks with a grain of salt. Or he's gonna take another drink and forget what he said entirely. What it says, "I'm 66, I can teach." Oh, that's great. So I can learn, but I can't teach. I just don't know how to reinterpret what I learned. But now we're back at the cottage, and Guthrie's there. He's asking Laura why Liz was there. And, same answer. Oh, she thought I'd be more comfortable at the house during the storm. And I said no. We've heard that lie before. So then he invites her to go to a seance for Josette. Laura says, why her? Guthrie says, she might have something to say. Just, don't say yes right now. Just think about it. Laura's like, no. Thought about it, not doing it, get out of here. And then we can see, like, through the window of the cottage for the, I guess it'd be like that for the credits. I gotta think in reverse of what I see on the show when I'm doing it here, so it lines up for you. Okay, we are on episode 169. Nice. This aired on February 16, 1967. It's still day 37. It's nighttime. There's that thunderstorm going on. Lotus says, "Oh, Lauren, yeah, I can, pick stuff up. I forget it really quickly too, but I can learn. Eventually, it sticks. I have to keep it something repeatedly to get it to stick in my head. That's how I learned Scottish." So we are in the foyer at Collinwood, and Guthrie is saying that he invited Laura to the seance, but she said no, but that's kind of okay, but he thinks her bad vibes would just ruin it. So Carolyn's there as well. They head into the living room, and Carolyn's like, are you really sure you really want to do a seance? Just, isn't that too far out? Guthrie's like, not really. He's had evidence of communication before, so. Now, Victoria comes in. She says that David is still up because of the storm. It's like they want to make sure he goes to bed so they can do the seance tonight. Lotus says, I'll be gentle. Oh, thank you. Kyle, yikes. Yeah, it's getting a little bit spooky. So over in the foyer, Frank Garner is there, and he said that Roger called him, and he said it's an emergency. So just then Roger comes in from the kitchen door, and he's like, oh good, Garner, you're here. He's like, come with me into my study. So they take off. Now over in the living room, Victoria tells them that, Frank showed up. Carolyn is just creeped out. She's never been so scared. They're going to do a seance. There's a thunderstorm going on, so she's completely creeped out. Okay, now we're in a new location. This is Roger's study. We haven't seen this before. It's what you would expect: a desk, lamp, fireplace, books, window, chairs, floor, walls. We haven't seen this set used before. It does get used later on, but this is the first time we see it. So we'll get to see it in color eventually. Really nice, comfy room. You can, sit by the fire and read your book and have your a drink there by the table, and very, cozy study. It doesn't look like, say, Frank Garner's office, where it's just, books and a desk and windows and very serious. This is a little bit more chill out, can spend hours in here comfortably, a fireplace right there. Nice room. But he is telling Frank that he wants that divorce faster. Like, why isn't this done? But it's, he's going as fast as he can. But Roger wants to know, he's like, well, what are my legal rights to Collinwood? So Frank lets him know that Liz owns Collinwood and the cannery while she's alive, and her will says that Carolyn is her heir. Oh, Roger pours a drink. He says, so I have to do what she says. I don't like what she's doing, letting this Dr. Garner perform a seance. Like, is that typical for a psychiatrist? Frank says, I don't know, but he knows what he's doing. Like, that's, like, Frank's the one who called Dr. Garner there in the first place, so he's gonna be cool with whatever the guy wants to do. It's happening again. Do I have a white hair over here? Oh, so we're back in the living room, and Carolyn is she's been crying. You know, they would just like doing one of these. She's nervous. And Victoria comes in. She says that David is asleep. Carolyn says that David is like a brother to her, and her mother always knew what to do. So if this fails, that means Dr. Garner can't help her mother. And what if she never gets better? Victoria says she will. So Frank comes in. Carolyn goes right up to him. She wants a plane ticket to go up to Boston. She wants to see her mom ASAP. But Frank sort of doesn't seem like he's going to do that. He says that he saw Liz earlier today, and the doctors say that a visit would be bad. They're still running tests on her. Carolyn's like, I know the truth. She's never going to get well. Bunch of stupid doctors don't know what's wrong with her. It's like, even Dr. Garner's. Just then Dr. Garner's walking in. He's like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Do you want to call this off? She's like, yes, I'm never going to see my mother alive again. And she runs upstairs. She's been on edge all night, so her nerves just can't take it. She's up there. Up in her room, anyway. That's what we're going to find out with Carolyn. We see it now, we're going to see it later. You only can push her not too far before she gets completely stressed out, so that's her limit. Otis says, I found another pack of papers I will endure for this fox. Is it white or is it yellow legal paper? That's what I use. But later on, we're in the foyer. Victoria comes down. She's letting them know that Carolyn has stopped crying. And she's telling Frank this, so she's calmed down. But what did the doctors really say about Liz? So they head into the living room. Frank says there's no hope. It's like she looks like she's living, but she's not alive. And I don't want Carolyn to see her like that. Dr. Garner's there saying that he won't do the seance if Carolyn doesn't want to. But just then Carolyn's come down, she's in the room. And she's changed her mind. She apologizes for the way she acted earlier. She had called Dr. Garner a quack, but she apologizes for that, and she wants to do the seance, but she's going to go chill out in her room until they're ready. So she leaves the room, so does Victoria. And this is when Garner admits to Frank that he's not as confident as he acts. And they may unleash a force that they can't control. And we see Roger's study for the credits. Nice room. Oh, Modus Cannabis. Nice. Yeah, smoke it on the balcony. Smoke one for me. Puff, puff, pass. Kyle, very noir vibe to it. Yeah, very you know, some people are very much not, you know, some people are just straight up, some people have their secrets. This is the first time we've really gotten into anything like a seance. That's kind of, like Carolyn said, a bit far out. Oda says, I already watched Dark Shadows. My mom was addicted. Who was her favorite character, did she say? Or did you have one, or was that something that you just had to put up with and watch? Like Sunday football. One TV in the house. I wanted to watch cartoons. I didn't want to watch the Browns lose every single Sunday, but that's what was on. Why do we have to watch this? They're going to lose every single time. This is boring as fuck. I'd rather watch the friggin' news than this crap. Foosball is the devil. Modus not, yeah. It's bad enough it's on TV. I don't care what you like, Mom. When's this gonna be over? I can't tell time, but hurry up. Alright, episode 170. We're still in day 37. It's nighttime. There's that thunderstorm going on. We're in the living room. Carolyn is wearing this dark, I think this is that dress that I like. It's a dark dress. It does have long sleeves down to the wrist, but like the entire sleeve is some sheer dark fabric. I love that dress. And Victoria, she's having second thoughts. She thinks something bad will happen to herself and that Josette will show up. And then she also remarked, it's weird that Victoria has seen Josette, but Carolyn hasn't because, you know, Victoria's not even a Collins. And, you know, Carolyn's never seen Josette. Oh, Mrs. Johnson is here. She comes in. And she does not like the idea of a seance. Like, she's a godly woman, so this is just not going to fly by her at all. Moda said, I just wanted my munchies. I know that's right. Mom, hurry up. So Victoria tells Mrs. Johnson, just, you know, just go upstairs, sit with David. We don't want him coming down and seeing any of this, interrupting us, getting spooked out, none of that. And then Mrs. Johnson's gonna, you know, bring some coffee in for him first. So she takes off. And here's Roger being sarcastic again. Roger comes in. Such a dick. It's like, oh, I wonder if Josette will make it over here in the storm. This is gonna be boring as hell. It's like, as soon as we see Dr. Garner's a failure, I'm gonna chuck him out into the storm. He cannot wait to get rid of this dude. The idea is that Josette lives over at the old house. How's she gonna walk the 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, over in the storm? LOL, Roger. So in the foyer, knock on the door. Mrs. Johnson opens it up, and it's Dr. Garner. And he's got a tape recorder. Tape recorders back then, it's got a full-on friggin' handle on it. You can see inside there where it's got the two spools of tape, so it's this big clunky radio-looking thing. If you're very much younger and don't know what, like roughly the size of a laptop with a handle on it for the younger folks who may watch. So it's not like he's not recording this on his cell phone. And now it's raining, full on storm. Oh, he takes it into the living room, and Mrs. Johnson follows him. And she's asking, you do this sort of thing often? You seem like you know what you're doing. Dr. Gardner, he sets the tape recorder on they've got a round table in the middle of the room with chairs around it. So he sets it down there and he, presses the buttons to record. He says, Mrs. Johnson, would you like to say something? I love this chick. She's like, oh, I'd like to say something, all right, but I won't. So he stops it, rewinds it, plays it back. We get to hear it. He plays that line back. Mrs. Johnson, like, that doesn't sound a thing like me. Well, I'd like to say something, but I won't. Mrs. Johnson needs a Twitter account because she would have something to say about everything. Like every tweet would be a rant. But this was before Twitter. So the tape recorder's off. Gardner asks her, what do you really think about this? Off the record. He's not recording her. He's not being shady about it. Mrs. Johnson, she's like, this is terrible. The dead should be allowed to rest. This isn't natural. She's 100% against this. Moda says, I harvested 3 pots before the cold hit Dallas. Ooh, yeah, Texas is not supposed to get cold. Kyle, LOL, right? Mrs. Johnson's one of my favorites. So Victoria comes in. She's, confirming David is still asleep. So Mrs. Johnson's going to go up there and sit with him, make sure he doesn't come down. Now, Dr. Garner, he's sure Josette will show up. Now Carolyn and Roger come in, and Victoria lights the couple of candles on the table. Dr. Garner closes the doors, turns off all the lamps, so the only light in the room is from the candles. They all sit down. Seance, drink. This is the first seance of the show. There will be more. Modus winning, right? I like 3. 3 is my lucky number. So they sit down, and Dr. Garner starts asking for Josette to appear in front of, how a seance is. Everybody sits down with you sit with your hands spread out like this, so like your pinky is touching the pinky of the next person all the way around in a circle, and you're supposed to just, focus on one thing. So they're doing that. Garner's asking for Josette. Or not Garner, but Dr. Guthrie is asking for Josette to appear, and pretty almost immediately Victoria just starts just moaning, like she's got her eyes closed, she's got her head back, like something's trying to communicate through her. But just as this starts to happen, there's the doors to the room, but they both burst open, so everybody's concentration broken. They look at the door, and there's Laura. She's just standing there. She's got her dark cloak on. Couldn't look spookier. Just, I changed my mind. And they're, wait, Victoria, what did you see? And she said that I was in a long corridor, and I heard your voices, but they were like echoes. So Garner asks her to, try again. Well, it's all, like they let Laura join. They're going to try it again. And Roger's not skeptical anymore. We've never seen Victoria act this way, so he's starting to believe this is real. So Laura sits down. Everybody puts their hands down on the table. Round 2, seance, drink, twice. 2 in 1 episode. If you stop and start again, it's a second seance. I don't care if it's the same episode. It's 2 different seances. So Garner's saying to everybody, just only think of Josette. And he asks her to, come back, come into the room. So then we see the drawing room at the old house, and Josette just appears from her portrait up on the wall. So we get this hazy apparition. Can't really tell what actress this is. And we're back in the living room, and it's Victoria. She's moaning again, just the eyes closed, head back, like something's gonna communicate through her. Carolyn notices that she smells jasmine. And then Victoria starts speaking in French. I don't speak French, so I might know a word here or there. I certainly can't speak it back, but this is, not my wheelhouse. And just from what I can, it sounds like she's speaking with a good enough accent. We've never heard Victoria speak French before. This establishes that Josette speaks in French, or thinks in French. And now again, I don't speak French, so I was just trying to guess what I was hearing. Kyle, bonjour, yeah. Right. A soup du jour, omelette de fromage. I don't know. We don't have our French or Canadian folks here right now. Yeah, Modus, yeah, have a good night. But she's saying something about, like, I picked up the word death and the devil. And she mentions a person, like at the end, as she's saying, like the person is, and just right before she can say whatever name she was gonna say, she screams and just collapses on the table. So she's out. And we see the living room for the credits. Something like a Diablos or some kind of word like that. The DVDs don't have subtitles. They do have subtitles on Tubi. I could have cheated and like read along, but you sort of get the impression, say from Carolyn, I don't think she speaks French, so I'm thinking, okay, what would she think hearing this and not knowing French? So like, I don't know French. What do I think I'm hearing? And I'm just really only able to pick out a few words. But when somebody starts speaking in a language they don't know, it's creepy. It's creepy. It just is. So now we're in episode 171. Still day 37. It's nighttime with thunderstorm going on. It's raining out there. And we're in the living room, and they either reshot or reused the whole like Victoria, like just moaning before she's gonna fall out. I forget if they do ever speaking in French again, but this is Carolyn even says, she's like, Vicky doesn't know French. But the whole time Victoria's speaking, yeah, they must have reshot this. Laura is looking right at Victoria while she's speaking, so I get the impression that Laura does speak French. And she seems kind of scared about what she's hearing. And Laura never really comes off scared, so Victoria must be saying some real stuff. But, Victoria, collapses, Roger turns on the lights, pours a brandy for Victoria, and that's right about when she, rouses, just, she doesn't know what was going on, she just woke up with her head on the table. Carolyn's like, you spoke French. Vicky says, I don't speak French. Carolyn mentions that she smelled perfume. Roger says, Laura, you speak French. What did she say? Laura's, I don't know. It was just, random nonsense and stuff. Kyle says, gotta go, kind of late, nearly 3 a.m. Oh, I subbed and liked. Oh, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, smash that like button. Drop my pen. Oh. Yeah, I do these every week. And just doing an extra show on Friday. It's a battery. Like, yeah, battery's fine. You spoke French. I don't speak French. Like, if I were to start speaking French with a French accent and everything, like, I don't know. I guess. But, baguette. Is that French? I have something on my glasses or my eyelashes. Just some dust. Yeah, Laura really does play dumb. I don't know. It's just kind of nonsense and words and just doesn't really give an answer. But I guess Garner does know French. He says, "You said that there's someone who sleeps without sleeping and dreams without dreaming, and there's an innocent boy in danger, and fires through the centuries with another one soon to come. And an evil presence at Collinwood you were about to name, and he thinks there was some hostile force that stopped her from saying what it was." Right, haha, that's not French. Yeah, see, I don't even know. I couldn't even order bread over there. Champagne. There we go. Though I do tend to pronounce champagne, champagne from Futurama. Well, they're trying to ask Victoria what she remembers, and it's kind of fuzzy for her. She remembers sitting down for the seance, and then suddenly it was like she was moved to a dark place, but she wasn't scared until she saw fire just everywhere. It was in front of her, all around her. It was falling from the sky. She says, and then it was burning alive. And she's really upset. So Carolyn, takes her out of the room, takes her upstairs. And Roger decides to take Laura home. That's nice. He doesn't make her just walk home. He actually takes her home. That's I wouldn't expect him to go that far, but that's nice of him. Parlez-vous français? Yeah, no. But je suis. I don't know another French word to finish that sentence, so I. And I'm sure I have a very American accent. Speaking of French, there's something called it was on Netflix called Monsieur Spade. I guess there was some. It's based off a real guy who was a detective, and then later in life he moves to France. So this takes place in France, but he's American, and he does speak French, and he's got this French lady that's his maid that works in the house. And it's not a very long series, like say 7 episodes. But you get to one of the final episodes, and you get the impression he's been living there for over a decade. So this lady that works for him knows him, and she always speaks in French. So, like he's always having these conversations with her, or saying something in passing, and then he finally says something to her, just something innocuous. But and this is all in French. There's subtitles. So the lady says to him, she's like, "You know what? One day you'll learn French, and we can have a real conversation." Best line of the whole series. Uh, if it's still on Netflix, I don't have it, but check it out. One day you'll learn French, and we'll have a real conversation. What's up, Francois? Glad you made it. Yeah, after all the French speaking is over. Yeah, we were just trying to. There's an episode and Victoria speaks French and I don't, and I wasn't turning on the subtitles. I was just trying to guess. So it's like Satan and other stuff, I guess. And yeah, just guessing my way through a language I really don't know. Oh man. All right, so at the, Roger took Laura home, so they're at the cottage now. Yep, Ryan, LOL, that would be my luck. Like you've been knowing somebody for 15 years, speaking to them in their own language. Like that's the joke too. It seems like no matter how good you speak French, it's not going to be as good as a French person. So they're going to always, knock you for your accent, and then and then we can have a real conversation. Like it's good enough for an American speaking French, but she just had to be sassy about it. It's the best line of the whole series. Good for her. Anyway, Roger says, lets Laura know that he's going to tell Dr. Guthrie to leave tonight. Now, don't laugh, but do you think Josette really spoke through Victoria? Laura says, you're not going to start believing in ghosts now, are you? She was hysterical, that's all. So Roger, he's just going to try to forget about it as soon as he can. Anything weird happens, he's not thinking about it, he's just trying to forget it. So now we're up in Victoria's bedroom, and she's saying that she must have spoken about David. Like maybe he's going to become trapped in a fire. Carolyn says, where? In Collinwood? Like, we know who's behind this. You said her name. Or you almost said her name. It's like, Laura. She's responsible for what happened to my mother, and she's going to do something terrible to David. That woman is not capable of loving anyone or anything. And just then there's a knock at the door, and it's Dr. Guthrie. He just wants to check on Victoria, make sure she's okay. Victoria says that some other force stopped, or Guthrie's saying that some other force stopped Victoria from saying that name. And they could find out what it is if they do another seance without the forces that stopped Josette. But they need to do this at the old house without Laura there. Victoria says, can't you do it without me? She's creeped the hell out. You would be too. But Guthrie says, like, I wouldn't, but it's our last resort. Josette spoke through you, so you kind of have to. So Guthrie and Carolyn, they get out of Victoria's room. Jen Rogers says, I just got more notifications on the Lion King meme. Oh, I don't know that one. I just found out about the Grammys. Apparently some dumb things were said by a no talent, quote unquote, singer. Apparently Mayhem won for like best. It won an award. Okay, I mean it does have my favorite song ever in the world right now on it now, so that's fine. Like I didn't watch the acceptance speech, I didn't watch any performances, but like, oh, okay, I can understand how that's the best album out in current year. Okay. So we are in the living room, and Carolyn and Dr. Guthrie come in, and Roger looks at Dr. Guthrie, and he's like, goodbye, pours himself a drink. So Carolyn reminds him, this is not your house. He's staying. But Guthrie's done for the night. He gets out of the room. Or maybe he just leaves, but he's not in there anymore. So Carolyn goes on to say that you saw he was able to contact Josette. Roger's like, I don't know what I saw, and I don't want to. Carolyn says that Dr. Guthrie is the only person who might be able to help my mother. And Roger needs to drink about it to, forget about it. So he's done. So we see the clock in the foyer. It's 12:10 a.m. So now it is day 38. Then we are up in Victoria's room. We see another clock. It's 2:16 a.m. And Victoria just, wakes up out of his sleep. And Laura is just stood there at the foot of her bed. So she's freaked out. Laura's just very, are you okay? I was worried about you. Victoria's like, I'm fine. I don't need anything. You can go. Laura's like, it might be better if you left Collinwood. You'd be happier and safer since David will be leaving with me. Victoria says, if he does, I'll think about it. Mrs. Collins? And we see the room now. She's just gone. She vanished. It's like when she popped up in Liz's room. She just can come and go that quickly. And we see Victoria's bedroom for the credits. Yeah, I could do another one. Ugh. Yeah, that's creepy as hell. Again, I would sit in on a seance. That doesn't scare me. I've got back pain. I know what real fear is. Yeah, you can't scare me with spooky stuff. I've had to deal with demons and dreams before, trying to wreck up my good time. Oh, a happy belated birthday to Matt McCat. His birthday was yesterday on the 6th. He's an Aquarius. And a kitty cat. He's canonically a tuxedo cat. Okay, so episode 172 aired on February 21st, 1967. It's still day 38, but it's morning now. The storm is over. And we're at the cottage. And Laura's sitting there chilling, reading a book. And Mrs. Johnson is just dusting noisily. Like there's these two figurines up on the mantle, picks it up, dusts it off, kind of sets it down kind of loud, picks up the other one, sets it down kind of loud. And, Laura's right there. Like, you want to be careful with those things. They're fragile. And Mrs. Johnson's like, I'm sorry, my nerves have just been shot ever since last night. Like, I thought something was going to happen to David. And if Miss Winters is a sweet child, why did they mix her up in this? She was a bundle of nerves all night. And she's usually as sensible as they come. Laura says, oh, well, Victoria's changing. But you're not. Mrs. Johnson says, that's because I believe in minding my own business. Take that, Dr. Guthrie. What's he doctoring? How's he helping Liz when she's in Boston? I'd never heard of a doctor doing what he did outside of a witch doctor in a movie. Laura says, oh, time will tell. So Mrs. Johnson takes the, there's like the pokers and that little shovel thing for next to a fireplace. So she takes the little shovel scoop thing and she starts like hitting it on the logs in the fireplace. Laura's says, well, what are you doing? And Mrs. Johnson, oh, I'm just going to put out the fire so I can clean the hearth. It was like, Laura says, don't ever touch that fire. The fire must be going at all times. I don't ever want to put out. Mrs. Johnson just, oh, okay. And, she's done cleaning, so she leaves. Okay, you don't gotta bark at me, woman. I'm going. So now we are up in Burke Devlin's room. And Mrs. Johnson's there. And right away she's like, I would have told you this for free. They had a seance last night. And that Dr. Guthrie, I don't like him. And Carolyn was there also, and Victoria, Roger, and then Laura showed up. Victoria, then she spoke French and screamed, and then she fell out. She said she felt like she was being burnt up. Burke is saying he doesn't want his quarrel with the Collins family touching that girl, meaning Victoria. I'm going to get my lawyer to find out everything about that Dr. Guthrie. And you keep your eye on Victoria. I don't want anyone to harm her. And he thanks her for giving her that information. So Mrs. Johnson leaves. Burke gets on the phone. He's asking for a grant. So not that Mr. Blair. He's got another dude working for him. I guess his last name's Grant. Is that a new lawyer or a second one? I don't know, but that's who he's trying to get a hold of. So over in Collinwood in the foyer, Dr. Guthrie arrives, hangs up his coat. We don't see the hooks, but he does reach over, hangs up his coat, and he heads right for the stairs. Just when Mrs. Johnson's walking out from the living room, it's like, where are you going? Miss Winters is to have no visitors. If it weren't for you, she wouldn't be in that condition. And the only way you're getting up these stairs is over my body. So Garner takes the hint. He just walks over into the living room. As soon as he walks away, doors open up. There's Laura. She's there to see Miss Winters. And Mrs. Johnson tells her that she looks the same as she did yesterday. So Laura asks about David. She tells her that David is out, and Mrs. Johnson has work to do. So Laura kind of realizes she's not going to get anywhere either. But just then they start hearing Victoria's voice come from the living room. So Laura walks in, and it's Dr. Guthrie. He was playing that tape recorder back. And as soon as she walks in, he turns it off. He's got his notebook there. And he's saying he thinks that the seance was successful. And there was more than one phenomena going on. Now, Laura did not realize that they were being recorded. Because it was like they're all sitting at the table, and then there's a table off to the side. That's where the recorder was, and that was playing before Laura showed up, so she would not have known that. So the fact that she was being recorded is news to her. But she wants to hear it played back. Garner's like, I'd rather not have anyone who was there hear it. He doesn't want that to, cloud their opinion of what they were, hearing, what they thought. Oh, Michael, what's up? How do I think the universe was created? With some, like, stars and Earth and a lot of energy. Francois God farting. I haven't really, researched the Big Bang or anything like that. I mean, you can take the spiritual route and say that the gods created the universe, but if you want to, you also have to explain how physical things appear. So just energy and stars and mass and stardust and a lot of heat, and it was cold though, and a lot of spinning. So no, Laura can't listen to the tape being played back, but she admits that she's very curious about it. So now we're over at the cottage, and Burke just barges in. Very rude. Laura's even like it's like bra manners. Like you don't knock, you just open the door like you live here. Damn. Burke starts in right away. He's like, what was up with that seance last night? Laura says, you heard about that? Well, Victoria spoke in a strange voice, and then she fell out. And today, Mrs. Johnson wouldn't let me see her. And Burke wants to protect Victoria. He says, is Dr. Garner a cop? Laura says, Roger wouldn't let a cop into Collinwood. You know better than that. But the doctor's not what he seems, and Carolyn is helping him. It's like, since you stopped dating her, she wants revenge. So Burke mentions that he's got his lawyer checking out Guthrie. Michael says, are you saying then that Dark Shadows is gobbledygook? I mean, it's a TV show like anything else. I like it more than other TV shows because it kept giving me what I wanted to see and things I didn't know that I want to see. Way later on, they have a character that's very similar to an OC that I have. OC means original character, so that kind of creeped me out. Like Get Out. How does the show that existed before I was born? How did that get into my like? I'd never seen those episodes before, so how do I have an OC that's very similar to a character on that show? Like what the hell? How are we on the same wavelength with certain things? And then it also has my favorite actor on the show. He's not on the show yet, but he will be soon. I would get just like a feeling about a character, and then later I would find out why. Like this character is gonna do something that I'm really gonna like, and it's just gonna blow my mind. And like it happened with Liz, it happened with Mrs. Johnson. Sometimes it happens right away. Sometimes it's not for hundreds and hundreds of episodes. But it's like I knew it. I didn't know what I was gonna see, and then it hits. Devastated, just devastated. Oh my god. Like, how is this show so good and, like, no offense, but so old? I mean, like, yeah, I can, like, say jive with black and white movies more than modern stuff. It doesn't have to be new to be good, but, like, how is this, like, just on TV? It's just on in the afternoon, and it's so camp for and spooky for being the middle of the afternoon and the 60s when everything's supposed to be so lighthearted and blasé and just oh my god. And a lot of the actors are really just like giving it their all. Like you don't have to go that hard into these characters, but they do. They're just throwing it all on the stage or throwing it all into these characters for the camera, and it works. All these like wildly different characters and wildly different acting styles that just gel and mesh together because the actors get along so well and play off each other so well, and it's just not every character. There's characters I do and don't like, and just various levels of acting quality, and it just, oh my god, why was it only 5 years? If you want to study acting and you don't want to read a book about it, this is a good show to watch for a huge variety of acting styles. Oh, but yeah, Burke is saying that he's got his lawyer checking out Dr. Guthrie right now. And Laura says that if Guthrie gets in our way, he'll have to be removed by any means necessary. So over in the foyer, Guthrie runs in from the living room and he's hollering for Mrs. Johnson. So she comes out. He has her come into the living room. He's like, "Did you touch this tape recorder when you were dusting in here earlier?" And she's like, "No, I didn't touch anything." Like, "Are you sure?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm sure." It's like, "I wouldn't touch that thing if you paid me." It's like, "No, I didn't touch it." He's like, "Well, listen to this." And he plays the recorder, plays the recording back, and it's just this crackling sound, like somebody recorded fire burning something. There's no audio, nothing. The entire tape's been replaced with just this burning fire sound. And then we see the cottage for the credits. There's that cabinet that's like you got the fireplace, then you got that little area to warm up your wood, I guess, that's in the brick, and then you've got this cabinet right above it. And that cabinet's open and we can see inside of it now. It's got 4 shelves. There's tea service up in there, so like you can see the teapot and some cups. And the bottom shelf is books and some candlesticks. And then we can see a desk in the foreground. A little bit of a different shot. And that's a good place to end it up. I've got about 8 minutes left here. Yeah, so we got through our first 2 seances. Spoilers. There are going to be more. It's apparently the actors just you get the job, you get the script, you get the costumes, but they didn't really tell you what to do aside from acting off of the other actors. So it seems like they could style the characters, like perform the characters however they wanted to. So it wasn't like a very rigid way of doing things, so that they gave the actors a bit of freedom. It's kind of like how if you're a stunt driver and you're working on a major motion picture, they want the stunt to go perfectly the way the director envisioned it, so you have to keep wrecking the car in a certain way to get the shot that the director wants, versus if you're doing a stunt for a B film, you just do the stunt, and however it works out, like there's no money for retake, so they just use whatever take happened the first time, and you just roll with it, so you get more freedom in that way. Plus it was TV. I don't know if there weren't reruns back then, so you just had to watch it live. And the only time you got to redo anything was if they were redoing the last minute of the last show at the beginning of the next show. So you kind of only had it's like a play. You kind of only had one chance to do anything, and then you just I guess assumed it was going to be forgotten because there were no reruns. And yeah, folks, you'd have to have a better memory back then if you knew. Like when we were kids, we'd go to the movies, and you would have to sit there and kind of memorize it because you weren't going to be going to the movies every single weekend as a kid. So you had to memorize what you could, and then you talk about it with your friends, and between you and your friends, you could sort of piece together the whole movie after the fact. So folks had to pay attention more to what they were seeing because there weren't reruns. But as far as the actors go, I guess you kind of figured it was just going to happen once, so you could play the character however you want to, just get through the scene, and just have your body positioned right, and all that kind of stuff. So there was and maybe that's just how TV was. You just had more freedom to sort of do what you wanted if the director was not, say, harping on you to have the character be a certain way. So you got to just play the character how you wanted to and have fun with it. And I mean, I don't know where they got their ideas from. I don't know if uh like say there were vampires on TV shows before, but it was done in a silly way. Like there was said the Addams Family that had been on, or the Munsters. Those are more like light-hearted shows. Then this comes on, and it's played serious. It's played straight. It's kind of a little bit camp at times, but it's not. You're not supposed to be laughing at the seance or laughing at things burning because that's a serious thing. So it's not played for laughs. But because it's not a comedy, things just end up being funny because it's not supposed to be. Um, but yeah, they do speak. They do. A character does speak French in episode 170. So if you go back and watch, maybe you'll know what she's saying. And because I know, I just really picked up like death and the devil, and mentions like at the very end it's like she's gonna say who a person is, like, and their name is it is, and scream collapse. So maybe that was right, maybe not, and I could have turned on subtitles, but I don't really read French either, and you just have to compare it to other languages you do know to figure out words. If you know Spanish, you can read Italian. I know that. Uh, I don't know if it's 100% right. I had to read an article. I didn't have to, but there was an article about Madonna's son, and it was in Italian. And I was reading it, and I realized I kind of mostly understood what they were talking about. But I don't know Italian. I took a year of Spanish in high school my freshman year. I did well, but if you don't use it, you lose it. And I'm like, why do I understand this? So they're similar, but French is more different. And then they have all those extra letters in it. More power to people that know that stuff. But so yeah. But yeah, I'll link to this in the description for the show and for the channel to watch it on Tubi, to watch it on Internet Archive. The box set will run you north of $400. Sort of worth it if you have an addiction. That's what addiction is like. I do have a link for my Discord in the description. It's not very active, but it could be more active. I'm slowly trying to use that a bit more. I do have, what's it called? Super Chat. I've got Venmo, I've got Buy Me a Coffee. Those go directly to myself. Again, you're not supporting AI with it. I'm not buying hookers and blow with it. You get your comment read on the air. The money stays in the United States. And I will be live on Friday the 13th for a balcony chat, so we can just hang out and talk about anything for a couple of hours on Friday. And then next Saturday, I'll just be continuing with episode 173. Yeah. And once we get to 173, we got about 20 episodes to go before we get on to, like I was saying, it's got my favorite actor on the show. It'll have the reason why the show was on for another 4 years and had 20 million viewers every day. So yeah, I'm not saying this part is not good. It's good to watch the beginning, because later on it's going to take regular lines that are just lines and turn them into jokes. So it's really worth it. Plus there was that pill scene with Liz way back. So that was so much fun. And it was really fun to see you guys for a couple of hours. I look forward to these all week. So I'm glad you guys had a couple of hours to hang out with me. Smash the like button on the way out. Don't forget your pants. You're going to need those for the show for next week. And then we'll be back here for 2 episodes, or 2 shows next week. So that will be fun. So get you some good sleep, get something to eat, get something to drink, smoke out on the balcony, be awesome to each other, keep that thing on you, stay based and sexy, and all that good stuff. Uh, yeah, it was just great to see everyone. John Rogers says, have a great night, everyone. Yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you for showing up here so you guys can give me a platform so I can put on a show for you guys and see all of the best people that I've known for 11 years. So you guys let me do what I want to do. So thank you for letting me be myself and see all you great people at least once a week here. We see each other other places, but we get to see each other here definitely. Dandy says, thanks, Nikki. Collins says, I had a great time. Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, thank you. Francois says, thanks, Nikki. And y'all, thank you. You guys are the best. So take it easy. I'll see you in a chat room.